All rise. Superior Court of Fulton County, Atlanta Judicial Circuit is now in session. Honorable Judge Dean Baxter is presiding. Court will now come to order.
Everybody have a seat. All right, have done a lot of reflecting on my sentence that I rendered 2 weeks ago. I'm not comfortable with it. When a judge goes home and he keeps thinking over and over that something's wrong, something is usually wrong. And anyway, I want to modify the sentence so that I can live with it. I'm going to put myself out to pasture in the not too distant future, and I want to be out in the pasture without any regrets. And by saying all this, there is punishment in line, but I want it to be something that I consider fair and that I can deal with. So with that in mind, is there any objection to me modifying these sentences?
Not from Mr. Pittsburgh.
Not on behalf of
Not on behalf of Ms. Scott.
All right, well, Rhonda, do I have the charges up here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Sharon Davis Williams. As to the racketeering charge, I impose a sentence of 10 years to serve 3 years with a balance on probation, $10,000 fine, 2,000 hours of community service, false statements in writing, 3 years to serve to run concurrent.
Your Honor, she was acquitted.
Okay, she's
of
acquitted,
both.
so it's just the first
It's
count.
just the RICO, Your Honor.
Okay, well, let that be the sentence.
Your Honor, and I would also ask the court, I had presented the court with an order wherein the court directed a verdict, I believe it was to count 5 or 6 of the indictment prior to the case going with the jury. I haven't received a copy of that order, but I just want to make sure that it's on the record again, that she's only facing the RICO count.
Okay, well, Rhonda, can you look into that? All right. All right, thank you, Ms. Williams.
And
All right, let's see. Who's next? Ms. Cotman.
Your Honor, before pronouncing the sentence on Ms. Cotman, I did want to inquire as to whether or not the court had reconsidered sentencing Ms. Cotman under the RICO statute, and I did just have one argument to supplement what we've already spoken about. I know that the state had argued at sentencing that the court should look to the indictment for support for the language of the verdict form. However, I would point out to the court that the indictment in this case did not solely charge a conspiracy. I have a copy of it before the court, but rather the indictment charged a conspiracy and an attempt in the same sentence, which I don't think is even a violation of Georgia law. But if the court would look at the language of the indictment, it says conspired and endeavored. This word endeavored has been interpreted to mean attempt by none other than John Floyd. So in the indictment, my client is charged with a conspiracy and an attempt, not a conspiracy or an attempt, as the statute sets forth in 16.4C. In 16.4C, the indictment states that it is unlawful for any person to conspire or endeavor. So what the indictment sets forth is a person can be charged with a conspiracy or an attempt. But the indictment combines the two words, conspire and endeavor, which makes it really sort of nonsense, because either they're saying that Ms. Cotman attempted to conspire, or that she conspired to attempt, since they're joined together. And there is no case in Georgia law that has interpreted the language of subsection C, the word endeavor. Mr. Floyd outlined that in his last RICO seminar. And I also have a copy of support from what I'm saying that I can provide to the court if you just take a
So
look.
can you tell me what you're saying?
What I'm saying, Your Honor, is if you look at the indictment.
So you want me to just throw it out? Is that what are you making a motion for me to just throw your case out?
I'm asking the court, of course I would ask you to throw it out, but presuming that the court is not going to do that, what I'm asking the court to do is, the state's strongest argument was that the indictment was clear, that a conspiracy was charged. What I'm arguing to the court, if I could just hand this up, and I have a copy for the state. And I have a copy. And if you just look at that front page, Judge, this is from Mr. Floyd's seminar.
I don't want to read about
You
Mr.
don't
Floyd's. I don't really want to do that, and I'm not.
What I was suggesting to you is,
It's something you probably told everybody you got this airtight appeal, and I say just tell it to the appellate courts.
I very well, Your Honor. The only thing I was addressing is I thought that was why the court was considering sentencing under.
No, I'm not sentencing. I'm sentencing under RICO,
Okay.
and your argument about an attempt is not in any way concerning this resentencing. It has nothing to do with the
I very
arguments you
well,
made.
if the court is.
And
not
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've been wrong in the past and probably wrong in the future, but anyway, I'm just trying to re-sentence your client.
Understood, Your Honor. I had another argument that I want to make concerning just the punishment. The court is presumably going to sentence my client to a 10 to do 3. Before.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm just assuming.
I mean, we had one whole trial. I don't know. I guess I've been listening to you for 2 years,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's sort of made me dizzy, to tell you the truth. But go ahead.
Well, I don't want to presume what the court is going to do.
I'm easily dizzified, but go ahead.
Your Honor, what I wanted to suggest here is before the court handed down the last sentence, the state had not announced that they had this new academy to reform the kids once they're identified that were harmed by this cheating scandal, if you will. Now that we have that in place, if I could just get this out, now that we have that in place, I would ask the court to consider allowing my client to perform community service there. And if she does that, successfully, consider suspending the incarceration sentence. Of course, if she doesn't, then the incarceration would apply. But what I would propose is something similar to what Judge LaGrua does upstairs, where the court could get an update monthly on the progress that my client, as well as any other teachers that may want to join, you could get an update monthly on their progress in helping these kids.
I'm ready to get out of the APS business. I mean, I've been in it night and day for 2 years, and I'm pretty much over it. And I do have a suggestion, but it will not include that, and I'll make that at the end of my sentencing.
I very well, Your Honor.
Okay, I sentence your client to 10 years to serve 3 with the balance probated, 2,000 hours of community service, $10,000 fine. All right. Mr. Lawson,
Afternoon, Judge.
hey. I sentence Mr. Pitts to 10 years to serve 3 years, balance probated, 2,000 hours of community service, $10,000 fine. And what I suggest,
Your Honor, this one just wants to what this is.
oh yeah, okay, 5 years to, 3 years to serve to run concurrent. And anyway, I would suggest, and I'm not Oliver Wendell Holmes, but I do have a feel for trials and cases, and it's my humble belief that this case is going to be affirmed. And so my suggestion to y'all, rather than wasting this time between now and when the transcript is done and when it goes to the Court of Appeals, it may be a couple of years. And so I think y'all would be way ahead of the game if you did join the, I don't know what it is, the Academy?
The Redemption Academy, Your Honor.
The Academy, and then you can have that going, and at some point, if you meet all these conditions, I foresee maybe you would have your sentence suspended at some point if you did all these things. But if you sit around, and then you get hauled off to jail, and then you have to come out and do this service, I think you would be well served to do it. And if you are successful, and I'm not saying, I've been reversed many times in my career, but if I am reversed and you are correct, you will still have served the community. So it's not like you've wasted time, but I'm just giving you that suggestion, and it's going to be up to y'all what you want to do. But that's just a friendly suggestion from the court.
Judge, Mr. Pitts and I believe some of the other individuals have, I know Mr. Pitts has to report probation tomorrow. He and I have discussed this, and we are inclined to do what the court has suggested, before the court suggested, but we appreciate your concern about that in terms of getting some of these things done, and some of those things hopefully will be beneficial as we go forward.
Okay, and if you're successful, you still would have benefited the community. These are smart people, and I think they have something to offer. I also would urge, since I'm on TV, that there are a lot of retired teachers out there in our community, and a lot of them still hang together, they eat breakfast together, and still, I think a lot of them probably after a while are ready to do something. My father was, I think, ahead of the retired teachers in Atlanta. He's been dead many, many years, but I think that is a resource that I hope can be tapped. But there's a lot more to this tragedy than the cheating. I mean, the poverty and the utter hopelessness in a lot of these neighborhoods have contributed to this, and teaching in these areas, and they're fine teachers and dedicated teachers, but that alone is not going to solve the problem. But I don't know what the community is to do, but it's hopefully after going through this, our community will put a microscope on it and hopefully make things better for these children that didn't ask to be born in these conditions, but they're born in these conditions, and they need to have all the help they can to get out of there. So anyway, Evelyn, don't you think I've said enough?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
If I could just clarify, and probably for all three of the defendants, previously, you agreed to give them first offender treatment.
Yes.
That would follow under this sentence as well, and that there would be no change in the appeal bond that
Right, right. All that's correct. All right.
That was one thing. As I understood what you said, if our clients serve the community at the redemption academy, then you're saying that the incarceration portion of their sentence could be
No.
suspended. Is that
No,
what you said?
no, I didn't say that at all.
What did you say? What did you
I just said that they're going to be required, and I believe that the case is going to be affirmed, but, you know, who am I to make that prediction? But if they start doing their community service right now, their load will not be as great in the future, and I think they ought to take advantage of that. And I am not suspending the jail time. They had a chance from the get-go to take responsibility over and over again, and Mr. Davis, it just doesn't work this way.
No, I thought that's what you just said.
No, I didn't say
You
that.
didn't say anything
No.
about suspending.
No.
You're not-
I've reduced your client's sentence from 7 to 3. That's as much as I'm willing to do, based on the 6 months that I've spent with this mess. And, you know, I'm ready to move on. So anyway, adios.
They override each other. I didn't invent the technology.